pass a resolution supporting it?
We were against
Against the pipeline.
it was for more funding about
Okay.
the trade.
Good evening. The May 22nd, 2019 meeting of the Long Branch City Council will now come to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dangler?
Here.
Mr. Vieira will be absent this evening. Dr. Vogt? Here. Dr. Selly? Here. Mrs. Wittes?
Here. Will everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I hereby certify that this meeting has been published in the newspapers in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and posted as required by law.
Thank you. I'd like to call Lisa Sherman to the podium, please. Hi. Hi, how are you? As evident through the numerous buildings and developments in progress in the city of Long Branch, the City Planning and Zoning Office is flush with activity. During a period of transition, when left to her the only employee in the office, Lisa Sherman put forth an extraordinary effort in keeping the office going smoothly. In a demanding and fast-paced environment, Ms. Sherman dedicated extra time and effort to assist residents and the business community in their critical endeavors. Ms. Sherman worked many extra hours to fulfill the duties of the office. She quickly learned tasks that she was not previously responsible for and assisted new staff and consultants of the inner workings of the department. During a busy time before the summer season, Ms. Sherman made sure that all of the permit applications were processed and reviewed in a timely fashion. The city received numerous positive comments as a result of her dedication and service. Ms. Sherman is a 12-year employee of the city, and we are honored to have such a devoted person as part of our team. On behalf of the mayor and council, we'd like to thank you for everything you do, and congratulations on being the June 2019 Employee of the Month.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to say thank you, and I also want to say thank you to my coworkers, because I did have a little help from them, and for the patience of the public. The public was really good, and they understood. So I appreciate that, too. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
At this time, we have the public hearing on the adoption of the 2019 municipal budget. But first, Mr. Martin, our finance director, has a brief presentation he would like to make.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to start off our brief presentation with a description of the two calculations that were required by the state. The appropriation cap calculation is on the left, and the tax levy cap calculation, which is on the right. The numbers are fairly boring by themselves, but the result of the calculations show that we are $2.6 million underneath the approved appropriation cap by the state, and we are $1.7 million underneath the tax levy cap calculation established by the state. Both very positive. A brief breakdown of our budget revenues, which is the intake of money into the budget process. 65% of the income is from local municipal purpose tax at $39 million. Second biggest one is local revenues, state aid, and surplus, for total revenues of $59 million to support the 2019 operations. How we spend the money is broken up into 44% of salaries and wages, 39% of other expenses, 12% of debt, and 3% is reserve for uncollected, which we have to raise for people who don't pay their taxes. We still have to fund all the appropriations. By department, it's a breakdown. The largest cost by department is the police department, followed by public works. Debt service is the third largest cost. Insurance, statutory is pension and income taxes and things like that. And then public safety, which is predominantly the fire department, and then the other small departments. But police is by far the largest single department expense. The good news about property values in Long Branch is over the past 3 years, the property average assessment has increased from $412,000 to $439,000 in a short period of time, which means the value of homes are increasing, or the average value of homes is increasing in town. The estimated tax rate breakdown, where your money goes that you pay in taxes, is 45% to the school, 38% to the municipality, almost 14% goes to the county and open space, and 1.6% goes towards the library for their operations. Some of the areas where we're spending funds on infrastructure in the town are road programs. In 2018, we spent $1.9 million to repave roads that are listed up here on the left, and we anticipate spending $1.7 million on roads for the coming year in 2019. Also in 2018, we spent $215,000 on drainage improvements, and $635,000 in drainage improvements for 2019 is anticipated. We've also improved several parks and plan on improving them further going forward. Manhasset Creek, West End, Jackson Woods, Jerry Morgan, Branchport Park, and Van Court. We're always trying to save money, save the costs to the city. We engage in commodity resales of fuel and road salt to surrounding municipalities, and we take a percentage of that as income to offset our costs of supplying the fuel and storing the road salt. We share services with other towns for construction official, IT services, our finance department, and fire inspections. We partner with the Monmouth County Improvement Authority for pooled financing. We piggyback on their AAA bond rating, and it lowers our net interest cost to much lower than we would get on our own. We had interest savings of $621,000 over the life of the bonds that we purchased, and it generated a $3 million bond premium to offset the cost of financing. Some of the other benefits of living in Long Branch are we supply the lowest priced seasonal beach badge in Monmouth County, and our beaches are pristine by any standard. We have bi-weekly residential garbage pickup. We have semi-monthly brush and bulk pickup. We have a full-time paid fire department, and our recreation department offers a multitude of sports and activities. We have a very active senior center with over 900 members, and we have a summer concert series with live music 3 times a week at different venues. There will be a question and answer session, or a public hearing for public comment following this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. I need a motion to open the public hearing on the 2019 municipal budget.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak about the budget only, please step to the podium and state your name and address for the record. You will have 5 minutes and you may only speak once.
Request 1-minute notification. Vincent Lepore, 33 Ocean Terrace, Long Branch. Resolution 9519 tonight, the budget. Let me start by stating for the last 2 council meetings, I requested the user-friendly budget be available to the citizens of the Long Branch. That friendly, easy budget became available at 4:30 today. I think it's rather sad for Team Pallone that campaigned on transparency, that the general public only has 3 hours to prepare for a 7:30 meeting to understand the $5 billion budget on a user-friendly form. That's sad. Team Pallone's transparency failed. The budget is flawed throughout, and I only have 5 minutes. I could take about 20. The budget shows a noticeable increase in the debt service from $5,480,732 to $7,125,738. Under line item D for municipal debt service appropriated for 2019, $7,125,738. Appropriated for 2018, $5,480,737. Difference being $1,645,001. Expanded in 2018, paid or charged $5,480,737. Expanded 2018 reserve $5,465,686. We got $15,051 missing, council. As far as the hotel motel occupancy tax, the city even raised the base amount anticipated to last year's realized occupancy taxes, which exceeded the appropriated amount by $13,817, bringing the realized occupancy tax to $463,817. It's been said the Wave Hotel will be open by July 1st, that being Kushner's. From July 1st to December 31st, there is no showing of the anticipated increase in the occupancy tax. If one is to take what Kushner Companies presented, that the just-built hotel will generate $50,000 in occupancy tax, then that very line item concerning hotel motel occupancy tax should have been conservatively increased by at least $25,000, bringing that line item to $475,000 in anticipated receipts to the city. Concerning the 5-year capital program from 2018 to 2022, total of all projects, $3,089,000. That the 5-year capital plan of only $3,089,000 in the city the size of Long Branch, with a tax base of approximately $5 billion. That $3,089,000 figure is pathetic. And I may add, 2 members of Team Pallone were a contingent part of that being Pallone and Selly over the years. So over the 5-year capital plan, the city will average spending only $600,000 per year on the capital program. Financial management is deceptive. The rate will remain relatively level as new spending is somewhat equal to new revenues. Those new revenues generated through increases in tax rateables brought about by new construction, improvements through additions to existing structures, and increased assessments, which many in this city felt to the equivalent of substantial tax increases. Notwithstanding the insult of Team Pallone's lie on the 30-year tax abatement for Kushner Company, the new 30-year tax abatement. Bottom line is, the city's redevelopment since 2005, the single-family homeowner has not benefited well from this redevelopment. And this budget tonight fails in giving that relief to the average homeowner. This council has its municipal budget, but the residents and the single-family homeowners in this city have a real field budget. And that real field budget is not reflected in this municipal budget. I'm requesting a no vote on this budget. It doesn't deliver. Team Pallone campaigned on austerity. They campaigned about the taxes. This budget is a failure of Team Pallone. Again, requesting a no vote.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the council regarding the budget?
I will. Hi, Ernest Mignoli. I'm not going to repeat born in Long Branch and live in Asbury. But in particular, I certainly don't have the expertise of Mr. Lepore, but I would like to bring out the fact that when you looked at the monitor here, and he first brought up the expenditures, of course, correct me if I'm wrong, I think police were, how much, 12 million?
Correct.
And fire were almost 5 million?
Approximately.
Okay, so that's $19 million. And often when I come here, I talk about the FBI statistics and the law enforcement data, the reporting system for New Jersey, where all municipalities, all 565 municipalities, 650 school districts, have to report reported crime, bias, hate, police internal crime, all kinds of crime. And they put it in a database, and they make it pro rata, and then they rank from the safest place in New Jersey to the most dangerous. And since I'm a child here, Long Branch has always been, I would say, in the top 30. Right now, I think for $12 million, the way the police department is configured in this city, which most of it is brass, I think everyone knows what brass means. It means officers that don't go out in the street, they don't really patrol, they're not out there trying to solve crime, they're pretty much sitting around at desk jobs. I think our chief makes, $250,000 a year. That's pretty good. But what do we get for it? The rating of this police department for crime is we're number 25, the worst, the bottom of 565, with a $12 million paid police force. As Long Branch is number 25. You say, well, what does that matter? Well, because I say there's a triangle of crime: Neptune, Long Branch, and Asbury. Now you say, well, why does that matter to public safety? Here's why it matters. Asbury's rated number 2. Number 2. Neptune is rated number 15. And Long Branch is number 25. And when you look at the amount of brass and the amount of money that they spend on police, it's, I don't know what they call that, Mr. Martin. Is that called a lack of production on diminishing return? I think there's a word where you're putting out a certain amount of money, but you're not getting what you're paying for. And I don't know if that you would agree that that applies, but certainly the data supports that Long Branch is not getting $12 million worth of safety. And as a matter of fact, if you come here on often meetings, people are very concerned about crime, student death, stabbings, shootings, in those 3 cities. And of course, relative to the budget, the way the cities react, again, there's only two cities in Monmouth County, Long Branch and Asbury, the way they react about police revenue and lack of production and reduction in crime is they say, oh, wait a minute, look at Ocean Avenue. I mean, look what we're doing here. I don't understand what Ocean Avenue development has to do with a $12 million budget that we're in a crime-laden city where kids can't walk to school. That's a disgrace. That's an absolute disgrace. I was born here, and we always walked to school. And I don't know if you can do that these days. Certainly not where I live now in Asbury. You can't even walk to the supermarket. I don't even think we have a supermarket. Yeah, we do. But it's dangerous. So what to say? I think this city needs an oversight board, a citizen oversight board, to ride herd on the police department as it relates to the government. And I think tonight we're going to see a shift where the public safety director is going to switch to the mayor. Maybe I'm wrong, but thank you.
Anyone else? No? Thank you. I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Reading and approval of previous minutes. I need a motion to approve the minutes of May 8th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. Consideration of ordinances, public hearing and final consideration. This is the second reading of ordinance 7-19 entitled "An Ordinance Amending and Supplementing Article 3, Chapter 256 of the Code of the City of Long Branch, peddling and soliciting, and the creation of a no-knock registry." This ordinance was introduced on May 8th, 2019. I need a motion to open the public hearing on this ordinance.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak about this ordinance only? Please step to the podium and state your name and address for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once. No? Okay. I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is the third and final reading of ordinance 7-19 entitled "An Ordinance Amending and Supplementing Article 3, Chapter 256 of the Code of the City of Long Branch, peddling and soliciting, adding the creation of a no-knock registry." I need a motion to adopt on third and final reading, advertise and post according to law.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. Ordinances for introduction. This is the first reading of ordinance 8-19 entitled "An Ordinance Amending Chapter 78 of the Code of the City of Long Branch Police Department." I need a motion to introduce on first reading, advertise, and post according to law, and set the public hearing for June 12th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. This is the first reading of ordinance 9-19 entitled "An Ordinance Adopting an Affordable Housing Development Fee Ordinance for the City of Long Branch." I need a motion to introduce on first reading, advertise, and post according to law, and set the public hearing for June 12th, 2019.
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. This is the first reading of ordinance 10-19 entitled "An Ordinance Adopting Policy Regarding Property Tax Exemptions for 100% Disabled Veterans." I need a motion to introduce on first reading, advertise, and post according to law, and set the public hearing for June 12th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. I need a motion to open the public portion of this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If there's anyone in the audience that has a comment to make, please step to the podium and state your name and address for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once.
Good evening, Mayor Pavone and council members. My name is Anita Claiborne, and I live on 161 Garrett Drive. I'm speaking tonight about the Long Branch Disability Caucus. We're going to be sponsoring an event with motions and the Long Branch Mayor and Council on Saturday, June the 8th at the beach in Long Branch. And it's an opening of a fully accessible beach. There's going to be a river cutting ceremony from 10:30 to 12 noon, and there will be a picnic afterwards. Right now, I would like to know if would it be possible if we could meet as a disability caucus, as a regular group to plan events like this, as well as Emmy's talk about issues of interest to people with disabilities, and encourage them to run for office if they want.
Sure, Anita.
Yes.
Okay. It would help if I can have a regular schedule, like the certain week of the month.
Sure, let's talk after the meeting,
Yes.
sure.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Vincent Lepore, 33 Ocean Terrace, Long Branch. Over the years, many years, the residents of this city have seen a decline in the quality of life in West End. Taxes up and quality of life declined. More insulting was the Team Pallone lie of the 30-year tax abatement, the new 30-year tax abatement to Kushner Companies on Broadway, putting the merchants in the West End at a disadvantage. Over the last few years, a building went up in the West End that clearly doesn't belong there by its size. A building that the administration fought 2 lawsuits on. A building that the city's own zoning board had denied in an initial application. But the council came back, that being Pallone and Selly of Team Schneider then, and did an overlay and spent $80,000 on a legal challenge to prevent those 2 lawsuits from producing the testimony of Solomon Dweck on that property that religious institution in the West End was built on. We are on top of what's taking place in West End, and we are going to let Team Pallone know tonight. If you think you're going to accommodate the special interests of Team Pallone that helped get you elected by allowing a religious order dormitory in the heart of West End, think again. You will be in for a fight, and the line is drawn here tonight. We are on top of what you are doing. And I say again, we will fight. You are not going to further deteriorate the quality of life of the West End with a religious order dormitory in the heart of West End.
Is there anyone else?
Hi, Ernest Mignoli, Asbury Park, New Jersey. It surprises me that when I come here, I always plan ahead, and I think, gee, in between all the public speaking, I can prepare my notes for every time I speak. But every time I come, there's less and less people saying less and less, and I kind of feel like, well, now what am I doing here? And maybe a lot of people think, yeah, you're right, like I wish you weren't here. But look, who knows, maybe eventually some people will start speaking again. I mean, heck, we had quite an election in that May, and it seemed like the city was reinvigorated, we wanted change and transparency and et cetera, and heck, everyone would get involved, as soon as the election happened. Well, the election happened, and guess what? No one's involved. I don't consider Mr. Lepore or myself eloquent speakers, but at least we're in here trying. And I don't know if that's a common theme. There's, except in a lot of people's mind, except for development in Long Branch, what's the pitch now? I mean, another hotel, another building like Mr. Lepore was mentioning, another set of condos, another set of 3,000 a month apartments, another restaurant that's $60 a person to eat at. Who's it for? Can I get a 1 minute, please? Thank you. Well, I consider this my city too, but in this city and in Asbury, we just built a 17-story building on Ocean Avenue. The units go from 6 or 6.5 million to the lower floor to like $1 million plus. I mean, who was that for? People on the boardwalk, visitors this last weekend were saying, oh, I can't wait to stay, when we come here. I said, well, how much is a room? They said, well, we booked one for $500 a night. I thought, well, that must be nice, $500 a night. So then I said, listen, why don't you get a bargain and go over to Pier Village? I mean, they got some better prices, I heard, but maybe not. I don't know what this new hotel is going to be charging. I remember last year somebody offered me a special in Long Branch at Pier Village on a pint of popcorn. It was caviar popcorn, and it was half price, I think, at $80. So I thought, well, that's a bargain, half price, I grew up here. We used to go to Nunzio's and get a small pizza for 75 cents, a medium for $1, and a large for $1.25, and there was 4 of us. So I think the economies of scale, is that the right word, Mr. Martin? The economies of scale have changed a little bit. Like, the city is catering to out-of-towners, people who don't use the school system. They're not here most of the time, and yet when they come, they're getting all these tax breaks. And I'm going to use a word that I think is apropos. I think that the city is bringing in a lot of troublemakers, rich troublemakers. There's different not rich troublemakers and rich troublemakers.
You have 1 minute, Mr. McNeil.
Thank you. Like Solomon Dweck would be considered a rich troublemaker. Solomon Dweck, a rich troublemaker. And now I understand, with all this friendship that Long Branch has now with fire departments, police departments, governments, they're bringing in all these retirees who are buying $1.5, $2 million places in Pier Village. How do you do that as a retired police officer? How do you do that? And now, by the way, I understand that the Holy Smoke Cigar Club wants to buy the convent for cash. For cash. Isn't that great? We're going to allow that with who they're bringing in there? Armed ex-police officers threatening people in Holy Smokes, and they're going to buy the building now? Is that my time up?
No.
What? It is now? Thank you.
Madam President, before we continue, I have a question. Ms. McNolly, are you still being harassed by the police department
Absolutely.
currently?
Absolutely. I mean, threatened. They're putting stuff on the internet. They're surprised they haven't been whacked yet. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
That stuff that was recently?
Last Wednesday night from the Asbury Hotel with all the Long Branch cops and firemen and stuff. Are you kidding me? They're threatening me, my family. Where did they come off? Look, I've got a smile. Who's got a smile over there? Yeah, that's right. Wave. Mr. Wise.
Mr. McNolly, I was asking a question, sir,
Okay, I'm
not them.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So my answer is yes.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for asking.
Thank you.
Okay, I need a motion to close.
So move.
Second.
Most of somebody else, Rose.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi there. Joe Grillo, 521 Cookman Avenue, Asbury Park. Seems like more Asbury Park speakers than Long Branch speakers today. But I just wanted to say that I'm here in Long Branch. It's very rare to find me outside of Asbury Park because I'm here to support R96-19, the resolution proclaiming June 2019 LGBTQ plus Pride Month in the city of Long Branch. Finally. As an ally, I stand with my brothers and sisters in Long Branch, Asbury Park. I stand with most of the council, if not all the council, supporting this resolution, not just as a symbolic measure of acceptance to the LGBTQ community, but also of all people. And I think some of the arguments that were going around about it was, what does it mean if we're selecting one demographic? And I think it was opportune that today is actually Harvey Milk Day, and for anyone that has any trepidation on that, Harvey Milk said this. He said, "If I'm fighting for the rights of gay people, and I am, then I must fight for the rights of all people, all the minorities, the senior citizens, the handicapped, the disenfranchised, or else I'm a hypocrite." So with that, I think that having this resolution pass finally is a win for all the residents of Long Branch and all the residents of Monmouth County. So thank you guys so much, and good luck to you.
Hi, I'm Linda Swinby, and I reside at Gregory School Apartments. I haven't been here for a while, as you all know, so I have been observing the benches on Ocean Boulevard. And I have noticed it for a long time and try not to say anything, try to ignore it, try to walk by it, and doesn't work. What I'm saying is I'd like to see if the benches could be, I know painting isn't the answer because paint's gonna, wear and chip, but, they're gray, they're kind of looking, icky looking. If we could find a way to enhance, they're good, strong benches. They wouldn't have to be replaced or anything, just find a way to beautify them a little bit. They're kind of dull gray and kind of ugly looking when you drive. They're like dead looking. So if we could enhance the benches, find a way, I'd appreciate it. And then today, and I've noticed at other times driving by in a car, I'm not sure of the address, but I was down to see Verge, and I turned around and I was in a car and I looked, and there's parking lots that, no, I mean, it's in a construction area, true, but there's no, it's not construction, being constructed any place around it. But there's parking lots with old icky fences, broken down fences. I mean, when you're driving, I mean, you're going this way, but my eyes, and every time I drive there, you see those ugly fences. And I'm not sure that anything can be done because of, the construction being around there. But I'd like to see, if you could tear down those old icky fences and put a barrier up, there's parking lots. And I'm sure one lot is right next to the other. And if you could tear down those fences and put a divider up, like you did, in the road, so you don't turn left. If you could put like an orange barrier or something along there to divide the parking lots to enhance and make them look a whole lot better than what they do. And so I'd appreciate if you looked into that too. Thank you.
So Linda, as far as the fences, there is a code for fences. So if you, afterwards, if you let me know where some of those locations are, in terms of the construction fences, that might be a different story, but can certainly look at some, because you're right, sometimes around town there's some really beat up fences, and there is a policy on that. As far as the benches, I'll agree with you as also, if you notice, we have changed some of them. They're very expensive, and we've power washed quite a few just in the last month. But again, if you let me know those locations, we can.
The ones on Ocean Boulevard?
Yeah, well, I mean, I know there were some that were really in bad shape in Pier Village that have been power washed. They're significantly better looking, and a little further south as well. But where were you talking about in particular?
Because they're good, strong benches, and if they could be varnished or you can't paint them because paint chips. But
we're talking about some of the new ones, and that, I mean, when I say new,
these
in the
are on
last
Ocean Boulevard. They've been there ever since I've been.
Yeah,
here.
Ocean Boulevard and where, Linda?
Yeah, all the way down and up from.
I'll have Stan take a look, and I'll take a look myself.
Yeah, they're good, strong benches. They wouldn't have to be replaced or anything. I'm just thinking,
Well, like I said, we have been power washing, but we haven't covered the whole thing. So I'll be sure to take a closer look.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Lillian Grauman, 396 Second Avenue in Long Branch. First off, Second Avenue, speeding and lighting. I know I bring this up constantly. It's an issue. It's still an issue. I have contacted JCP&L to no avail just about looking at the lighting on that street. There's something that the city can do to try to at least get some LED lighting in certain portions of the road. I'd appreciate it. Second, I'd like to thank you for Resolution 96-19. Been in this town 59 years, and thank you for recognizing the community. We appreciate it. And just want to thank you for being inclusive, and not just with the gay and lesbian community, but all communities. It's noticeable. I've noticed it. I have friends that have noticed it and appreciate. And again, your work is recognized, and thank you.
Thank you, Lillian.
Hello, my name is Joan Kilcommons. I'm at 27 Pavilion Avenue, Long Branch. I'm here to also support the resolution to make June the LGBT Pride Month, and I really appreciate your consideration for this. Actually, I guess I assumed that it was already in place, and I have to thank Robin Camp for taking the lead in this. I was walking along the boardwalk today, as I do most nice days, and I noticed they put the flags up on the boardwalk, looking very nice, and it says Long Branch, the friendly city. So I'm hoping that you think about this resolution as extending a hand to all people, as Joe Grillo did so well point out, and especially to the LGBTQ+ community who are here, who are supporting this and there are many, many hundreds more out there, and who have been paying taxes for a long time and who support the efforts of this fine city. Also, I like to mention, as a former educator, a teacher, and a principal in public schools, I would really like to see our group, which we call Community, work eventually as an outreach resource to the schools, of course, directed by the school personnel, as I have done many times with various groups in my schools, and also as an outreach to other community, to the community as a whole, and also to community businesses. And I thank you for your consideration.
Darrell Banks, 40 Hobart Manor, which is a senior citizen, disabled citizens unit within the Long Branch Housing Authority. I was here 2 meetings ago regarding some issues, and I wanted to thank you for addressing some of these issues. We have since come across issues that had already been there, but we hadn't actually brought before you. One, I believe, I'm not sure if it's a code enforcement issue within the town or if it falls under safety or some other issue, but within the Hobart Manor apartments, disabled units which have the permanent concrete ramps are not allowed for some reason to have screen doors or winter doors on these units. We've been told everything from they're a hindrance to emergency medical personnel coming to, in the event of an emergency, to someone in a wheelchair would not be able to use a screen door. And I'm just trying to find out specifically, is there some real reason why we're not able to put a door on our unit? It's summer's coming, and this is an issue with weather, small mice, field mice, and things like that. You can't keep your apartment open the way it's set up. The other issue, just in general regarding individuals with disabilities, the gentleman before had mentioned the disparity between West End and the rest of the city. I, for one, as far as individuals with disabilities, we've noticed the difference between West End and Broadway as far as wheelchair accessibility. Most of West End is quite accessible. There are very few buildings that have steps. Wheelchairs can enter most of the businesses in West End. And this goes back far before the current development. I recall, 30 years ago when there was a Kits Video in Long Branch, and they had ramps even then to enter the businesses down there. But Broadway now, there's still so many businesses and buildings that are not wheelchair accessible. And we're aware of, reasonable accommodations and things, but with all the new construction and things going on and new businesses, I'd like to see more access in Long Branch as a whole, the entire city. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Banks, Mr. Raynone, I think, is looking up the code to try to address your, the screen fence. I guess we can't find it right now, but we'll certainly, you and I have talked, so I'll find out that for you. And as far as the Broadway West End, the handicap access, I'll have to look into that as well. I'm sorry I don't have an answer for you.
Okay.
Good evening. Isabel Ferreira, 20 Lippincott Avenue. I've lived in Long Branch for 40 years. I lived out of those 40 years, 15 in Asbury Park. I consider it all together. I've walked the streets, I've biked the streets, and on Lippincott Avenue, there are 6 potholes that my bike falls right into. Besides that, I'd also like to thank the council, the resolution R9619 for Pride Month. A lot of you know me from the Long Branch Portuguese Club. I'm an active member of the Portuguese community and the Brazilian community, and of course the whole community. And this made me very happy. I was invited to, it was a Facebook awareness, and I invited a lot of my friends, and I'm very happy to see this come out, because I also assumed that it was Pride Month in Long Branch. So I think it's a great thing for Long Branch. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Patricia Reynolds. I live at 27 Pavilion Avenue here in Long Branch. I wasn't thinking I was going to speak, but I'm compelled to because I'm an educator, and I'm going to be an educator until I close my eyes. And it is because I have been an educator and I've been with children since the 70s that I appeal to you tonight. First, I thank you for recognizing a community that lives everywhere and deserves to be recognized with dignity. But as a teacher, I have committed myself for my whole career, and even now in the work that I do as a consultant, to providing a safe, caring place for every kid. We all know about the testing and we know what we need to do for our kids academically, but there's the heart of them that we are responsible for as well. So tonight, I appeal to you as parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, anybody who's ever touched the life of a child, to think about the moments that some of us have had when in the aftermath of something happening, when we lose a child, and they're all children, when we lose them because they're afraid of being who they are, or they're hurt by other people. I need to be able to look at them as I continue on myself and say, we're doing the best we can, and so are the adults around me. And you're the adults around me that I'm appealing to tonight. So thank you moving forward for considering extending your good wishes into the schools nearby. Thanks, that's it.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Cycle. I'm actually a resident of West Long Branch, one town over, but I am here this evening with my friend Anita and also a fellow volunteer for Monmouth County Moms Demand Action. I just want to speak for a moment about Resolution R97-19. As a member of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, I'd like to just share some information about our organization. Much like Mothers Against Drunk Driving, Moms Demand Action is a nonpartisan grassroots movement begun right after the Newtown school shooting in 2012. While fully supporting the right of law-abiding citizens to own firearms, our goal is to reduce the 36,000 deaths every year through sensible legislation, raising awareness, and by promoting gun safety. I thank you for this resolution tonight. I invite everyone who agrees that we can do more to save American lives from gun violence to wear orange on June 7th to help spread the word and promote gun violence awareness. Thank you.
Patrick Tedeschi. I live in Long Branch. I first want to say thank you for the Resolution 9619. I think it's very honorable to recognize this month. June for the LGBTQT community. I have a two-part question. The first one would be, how does the city plan to acknowledge this month? Is it simply by a resolution stated in the council meeting, or does the city plan to do other things moving forward?
So Pat, some of us have been working with community, and there's a schedule of Pride events that are going to take place.
Okay.
For the week of June 1st through June 8th.
Okay. I'd read about that, but I also heard that some of them were canceled.
Library also. The library, they're
Yeah.
also doing.
Well, I'm throughout the city.
Yeah.
I only asked because I read about the list of events, and then I heard that some of them were then canceled.
I think the only thing that was, one event was canceled.
Okay. Perfect. Besides those events, does the city plan to possibly hang a flag outside of City Hall, possibly anywhere else?
We had an interesting discussion about lighting the library, and that we could use for any group to celebrate, any given month or day or whatever the celebration may be. We're looking into that.
Okay.
And
I think that kind of ties into my second question, which would be, moving forward, how do we, as a community which I like to call the melting pot of Monmouth County is Long Branch, how do we, moving forward, acknowledge the other minority groups that live within our community? So, like you said, the lighting, how else, moving forward, can we, as a group, as a community, acknowledge all the subcultures that live within Long Branch?
we're trying to add to whatever exists. So, for example, Councilman Vieira, unfortunately, is not here, but there's a Portuguese celebration in early May. We're adding an event to that, to the Martin Luther King celebration in January. We're doing that. We're doing a lot of the events for Pride. We're trying to do as much as we can, and any suggestions that anybody has is welcome.
And also Latino too.
Go ahead, Nita.
I'm sorry, could I just add to what the mayor said? Besides all those activities, we keep talking, just like we're doing now. This is spectacular.
Absolutely.
And if we can keep talking and we're going towards that same goal, we're going to make it.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a bumpy road.
Absolutely.
But we're
Absolutely.
gonna
And I just want, like other people have mentioned, when people come here to preach equality, it's not just equality for one group, it's equality for all. And I think that's the biggest thing that we need to touch on, and especially within Long Branch, there's so many subcultures within a town that we need to acknowledge every possible culture, religion, anything, and accept everyone that lives here. So I appreciate your efforts, and I hope it continues to grow stronger.
And that's what we want to do, Pat.
Perfect.
You and I talked a while ago, and that's what we're all about.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
And Pat, I just want to say one thing too. We're working on a mission statement for the council, and it talks about everything you just spoke about. So that's going to be on everything that we put out, and it's going to be how we, run the day-to-day operations and everything else that we do in this city.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Good evening to the council and to the citizens of Long Branch and other towns who are here tonight. My name is Marcia Brown, and I live at 111 Jolene Avenue. And I don't think that I've been at a meeting where I've been so deeply moved by what I would consider the diversity bonus that's in this town. Some people may say equality, some people may say, subculture, but the diversity of this town is not just ethnic, it's also in the variety of voices that we have here. And you said it was spectacular about the dialogue and the discourse that's going on here tonight, and it is, if we see that as positive. And one of the things that I was deeply moved about was the way in which people have come here and really talked about things that are not just their own personal interests, but things that really address a wide variety of people in our town. And I think it helps to grow the maturity of citizens to the point where they can see that it's not just their self-interest, but also our responsibility to be accountable for each other. So I guess when I was thinking that, is there a way for us to improve upon the kind of discourse that goes on here? Because there's only so much that can be done here at City Council meeting. There's only so much that you all can say that you're going to do. One of the things that other towns are looking to do is to create sort of an office of an ombudsman or ombudswoman, whatever. This is an office that helps to continue the dialogue and the discourse by taking issues that are raised here and intentionally going out and following up with citizens or holding smaller group meetings to address particular issues that can be dealt with, or following up even with you all as a town council based on what they're hearing from citizens that come here. So that's one of the things I would ask you guys to think about. And then secondly, I would just wanted to thank the mayor, and there were other advocates who came here in the winter and talked about the need to do something for our homeless population. The mayor got right on it, and there were churches in this town that stepped up to deal with it. It was a wonderful thing to see. Collaboration is a wonderful thing. It's not easy, and you have to be willing to hear things that are uncomfortable sometimes to hear. But the mayor heard it, and people stepped up, and the homeless, I think, had a place to come and be warm, and that's important. And so we want to grow a town that's not just rich and poor, not up and down. We want to grow a town where everyone, from every walk of life, has an opportunity to live a full, healthy, and prosperous life. That is the responsibility that we've been given as citizens to be on this planet. And I want to encourage everyone here and all of the council to continue to drive toward that and to come here with that kind of attitude when we meet. So thank you for listening.
And if I may add, thank you, Ms. Brown, because you were one of those people who stepped up. So thanks.
Good evening. Robin Camp from River Gateway, Long Branch. I've lived in Long Branch for 15 years, and I just want to acknowledge the group of people that have come out here to support LGBTQ+ Pride Month and the resolution that is now before you. I do want to point out they haven't voted on it yet, so. Once that is accomplished, we'll have a big round of applause. But collaboration is key, and we do need to talk, and we need to move forward. It's 2019, and I've been working with the mayor, who's been wonderful, and in moving forward and trying to get our group, which we're calling Community Together, and to acknowledge, or rather to have the council acknowledge our group as an advocacy group that fights for the right to be included. And I shouldn't use the word fight, because it's not a fight. We need to collaborate together. But we have ideas, goals, and objectives and missions that extend beyond just Pride Month. We want to do other things, like raise the Pride flag in front of City Hall, or have Pride crosswalks like they have in Asbury Park. There's other things that we'd like to do, and this is something that the council and the mayor could work together with community to do and to move forward. And I'm urging that after tonight, after we pass this resolution, hopefully, we can move forward and then come together collectively and come up with a resolution that establishes community as a working advocacy group with the city council and the mayor, and to move forward and to get things moving continuously, not just have it 1 month of the year, but throughout the year, to have events and plan and have people feel included. I just want to read very quickly some statistics, because one thing that's really important to me, I mean, there's a lot of things that are important to me, but one thing in particular is LGBTQ+ youth. And one of the things that I'm hearing as far as why community is getting pushback is because you don't think that we should be involved with the schools. Well, LGBTQ youth are almost 5 times as likely to have attempted suicide compared to heterosexual youth. This is a huge problem. You need to recognize that and acknowledge it, and we need to do something about it. The other thing I want to acknowledge is that Governor Murphy signed legislation 2 months ago mandating that every school in the state of New Jersey and California are the only 2 states in the entire country who are doing this. It is being mandated now that every school in the state teach students about the political, economic, and social contributions of LGBTQ people and people with disabilities. The legislation will apply starting in the 2020-21 school year. At the least, the city should support this, and we should move forward and get the city to end up passing a resolution that establishes community and have the school district involved with community, and we can all work collaboratively together to achieve that goal. Thank you.
Mike Bland, Long Branch, New Jersey. Just the boldness and the courageousness of folks who are in the crowd and speaking up for what they believe and stand for need not go unnoticed tonight. And I'm pretty confident and hopeful that you guys will pass this resolution that will acknowledge LGBTQ plus month, in addition to the Moms Demand Action Weekend at Gun Violence Month, because I think the conversation that's not being had locally, but more importantly around the country, is that there's no difference of the gun violence that's happening in suburban America and urban America. So I applaud the City Council to acknowledge that. One of the things, or 2 of the things that I just want to bring up real briefly.
Mike, I'm sorry, could you just raise the mic a little bit? Thank you.
One of the things, or 2 of the things that I just want to bring up real briefly is, I know, I applaud Pat for this so much, but raising the flag or the lights that stand in front of City Hall, I think that should be something that we should do. But let me just say this, you guys ran on Long Branch first. And one of the conversations that I've had the opportunity, and I know folks, just bear with me, I'm an avid cigar smoker, and the opportunities that you get to have having a cigar, you run amongst crowds who are very diverse, young and old. And the one thing that people from Long Branch continue to say is Long Branch has always been the melting pot of Monmouth County. And that just gives me pride from here to the West Coast. And I mean that. And when you guys ran a Long Branch first, that not only means that you were going to put the citizens of Long Branch first, but that should mean that we should stand in equality and we should stand on the front lines first more than anybody else in the area. So when I say that, let's not just continue what we're going to do in LGBTQ month. Let's stand on the front lines of any other month that we're going to do, because I believe that we can have a LGBTQ mayor of the day, that we can have an African American mayor of the day, that we can have a Portuguese mayor of the day, that we can have a Puerto Rican mayor of the day, and recognize and teach our community about the cultures that live here in our communities. Or one of the things, and I don't know because I know our municipal structure is set up differently, but I don't know where, and I could, and excuse my incompetence if I don't know, but if we do not have an Office of Inclusion and Diversity, and why that's important, because if we don't know what's going on around our city or the cultures that live around our city, people will just run around and just don't know what's going on. And it's so important, because I say this because there was, as we talked about this meeting coming up, one of the things that I always said is, you know, I take pride in that the group that I graduated with, we didn't care if you were black, white, Portuguese, Brazilian, Haitian, Jamaican, gay, straight, lesbian, transgender. We just knew that you were Long Branch, sitting to your left or your right. And I think it's time that we remind people that Long Branch, that's who we are, right? That's who we are. And let's be prideful enough and unapologetic and bold, because all of you have, you know, withstood times and have withstood trial and error. But with this group, running as Long Branch first, I think that it would be remiss if we did not be intentional and bold and unapologetic about everything that we honor, because there are so many rich traditions, there are so many rich cultures in the city. that if they, they're not asking for a handout, they're just asking to lift them up. And I think that we are, to be the largest city in Monmouth County, I think we could be the standard bearer. And I'm sure that not only are we going to do this, but we're going to do this right. And, whether it be a flag or lights outside, a library or City Hall, but let's be intentional about it. And I know all of you care so much about Long Branch through and through. But I just ask that we do it, and we do it the right way. And, in the near future, even if we can't get, because again, I understand the municipal structure, we can only have so many officers, and I get that. But if we were to add a officer of diversity inclusion, let's make sure we do it unapologetically. Let's do it boldly, because there's a new generation and there's a new wave coming. And we need to understand that that's the future. And we need to welcome our future and not just, brush it off. And thank you for all of you for being here, for listening. But let's do it right, because one thing that I know, and I'm a proud graduate of Long Branch High School, that we've always done it right. And, I know that we have folks from all over the county and all over the area. But Mayor, Council President, Vice President, and members of the council, you guys are doing it right. So let's do this the right way. But let this not only be, let this not just be a moment. Let's start a movement throughout the county. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jessa Lemo. I am an Asbury Park resident, but I love Long Branch and I love the community here. So I've been helping establish community with Robin, and I'd like to thank Robin for getting this going, and all the members of community, and the mayor and the council for listening and helping us truly. I would like to read a list of some of the resolutions that you did pass this year alone, just in 2019, because some of the pushback that I heard from the council about a resolution for the LGBT community was that if you passed one for the LGBT community, then other groups, every other group would want one. So I'm just going to read some of these, and all these are very important. So resolution to proclaim February Black History Month, to proclaim March Women's History Month, to proclaim March Irish American Heritage Month, March Greek American Heritage Month, April Scottish American History Month, and April Arab American History Month. So I just want to say that the LGBT community is not less than, and we deserve a resolution to proclaim Pride Month in June as well. So thank you. That's all.
That's it. Thank you. I need a motion to close.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We can take the listed resolutions as a consent agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. Okay. For applications, approval of Christopher Chiffone as an honorary member of the Neptune Hose Company. I need a motion to approve the listed application.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. At this time, I'd like to ask Councilman Dangler if you have any comments to make.
Yes, I do. Thank you. I usually, I don't have a lot to say, but I think it's important that I do speak up this evening. First, in Long Branch, the students of Long Branch are not afraid to walk to school. I just want to be clear on that. We are not. I know even when I was on the board, some of the administrators walk 4 or 5 blocks from the schools just to make sure everything is the way they should be, as far as students getting getting home safely. So that's not an issue, and I didn't want to just let that go by. Now, in regards to the resolution that we just voted on, there certainly is a concern. I'm happy that we did vote yes to approve it, but I do want to just say that during all the discussion that I had, so let me just speak for me, that I had, I was supposed to be on a program for National Day of Prayer. I called the day of, the morning before the National Day of Prayer and asked what was I supposed to do. They gave me, what my marching orders, so on and so forth, and then they called me back about 2 hours later and said, are you still the president of the NAACP? So, proudly, yes, 19 years. Why? Well, I have to take you off the program. Why? Because the NAACP supports gay and lesbian community in their, in their rights, basically. Not basically, well, they're human beings. We're all people. So I was offended because as a civil rights leader, if you will, what are we supposed to do? Say, well, you have a different lifestyle than I have, so I can't support you? That I'm not going to support your human rights? That's really what it's all about. So again, my eyes are open a little bit differently in regards to that part. And the resolution that was just brought up by the young lady who just spoke, because of some of the questions that were asked, we did include everyone. And that's really what my main concern is, that we include everyone here just across all borders, because as my two friends have said, Mike and Pat, Long Branch, I'm 63, has always been a melting pot. If you can live in Long Branch, you can live anywhere. You have the right to be here. I don't need a resolution to tell you have a right to be here, but I understand, so please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that we all here in Long Branch, you've always been, well, not you, but we have always been welcome, no matter what walk of life you're from. There are struggles for all of us. However, to have inclusion and to promote everyone, I am all in support of that, and I just wanted to make sure that we were clear as to where the pushback may have been coming from, again, from me. I'm not speaking about the rest of my council, but because I wanted inclusion for everyone and not just one sector of people here in town. But again, you cannot find a better melting pot than this town right here. So thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Councilwoman Vogt?
So, boy, I don't know what else can be said. This has been one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best meetings we have ever had. How can it be said that the people in Long Branch don't come to council meetings and don't participate and don't care about their city? It was beautiful. This evening was just beautiful. I felt, I was just noticing my varying sense of pride as the evening was going on, and just trying to identify, what was going on. And you all know that this was the process that we went through, as many of us alluded to. There are going to be tough times, and there are going to be tough discussions. And we had them. And it was important that we have them. All of us, it's important that we have them, and we're all going to be in a better place, and Long Branch is going to be in a better place when we work our way through them. I just feel a tremendous sense of pride in all of us, and I'm thrilled. So.
Councilwoman Sally?
I'm just delighted to see so many people here tonight, because you have a cause and you stood up for it, and I'd like to say thank you for all of you for coming. Now, now I have to get down to business. First of all, if you noticed, we introduced the budget tonight. There were comments made about the budget, perhaps inaccurately, and I would like to say the five of us, along with the mayor and our financial officer, worked very hard on this budget. This is our first budget, and we're very proud of it. And yes, there will be a slight decrease. So it's not all flowers and roses. We do work, and for that, I just want you to know. Second of all, you all know Memorial Day is coming up this weekend. And as a veteran, I would ask you if you would participate in the services that we're having on Memorial Day, which is Monday. First of all, we start at Fireman's Field at 9 o'clock. Then we go down to the beach and the mayor throws the wreath in the water. Then we go to Jerry Morgan Park. And then we come to City Hall at 11 o'clock. And then you would be very proud to hear our young students read the essays that they have prepared. I don't know what the topic is this year, but whatever it is, they always do a marvelous job, and I stand there with my mouth, oh my goodness. But they also get a nice $100 award, so. And then my last comment to everybody is, we are all one, regardless what we look like, who we are, what we can say, what we can't say. I can't walk, okay, but I can participate. Please remember, Long Branch is a great town. I have lived in it for more than 60 years. Now, don't go counting ages, okay? But I do want you to know I've seen a lot of changes. And it's wonderful to see this particular change, and I'm very proud to say I have been part of it. Thank you, and I hope you all have a nice holiday.
So the first thing I would like to say is this really is I think, a special meeting for all of us. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here, for your comments, and for making it special. So thank you. I do something called the Mayor's Report, so if you can bear with me, and like Dr. Selly mentioned, I'm going to talk a little bit about the budget, but let me do this first. So tonight, we passed a resolution in recognition for June, LGBTQ+ Pride Month. This is the first Pride resolution ever passed by Council in the history of Long Branch. Pride event, thank you. Pride events actually have been posted, but they will be posted on our social media beginning immediately. I wanted to thank Anita Clavering for bringing to our attention the gun violence resolution that we passed tonight. The purpose of this resolution, as I'm sure many of you know, is to encourage all citizens to support local communities' efforts to prevent the tragic effects of gun violence and to honor and value human lives. Anita also mentioned that there's going to be a fully accessible beach in Long Branch, which will be available at the North Bath Avenue beach entrance starting in the beginning of June, and there will be a small ribbon cutting on June 8th from 10:30 to 12 at that location. Please, anybody who would like to attend, please do. Thank you. The Long Branch Mayor's Office and the Recreation Department are excited to announce the Neighborhood Fun Day series coming to Long Branch this summer. There'll be a total of 4 Neighborhood Fun Days, all at different parks and in different parts of the community throughout the summer. These fun days will include water slides, rock climbing walls, backyard games, ice cream, DJs, and more, with each event slightly different from the last. The fun family events will be free for residents. More information about these fun days will be out shortly. The next Coffee with the Mayor is on June 25th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at Elbron Firehouse. This is our third Coffee with the Mayor, I should say Mayor and Council, this year. And what we've been trying to do since we were elected last July is go to different neighborhoods in the community, because as many of you pointed out, every neighborhood is a little different. So please come to that as well, June 25th from 7 to 8:30. We were just, I'm telling the council this, I literally learned at 5 o'clock, we're happy to announce that Long Branch has just received a $230,000 grant for safe routes to school. This project will go to improving Prospect and John Street sidewalks. These are in front of schools for pedestrian safety. And finally, I should say on the mayor's report portion of this, I want to thank the Sea Surfer Association for donating the public access signs at all our public access points here in Long Branch. There's 24 of them. This cost about $800 to produce, and they'll be up, I think, the first week in June. So I just wanted to thank Sea Surfer for that. So just if I could spend a minute on the budget because it is important. Tonight we adopted the budget. Our goal was to reach a lower tax rate while still maintaining and added to our services. As I think one of the council persons pointed out, this is our first budget, but more simply, we wanted to do more for less. So for 2019, we're happy to report that we reached this goal. I'd like to thank the City Council for all their assistance in making this possible. Thank you to Mr. Martin, our CFO, for his financial presentation this evening, and thank you for all your hard work putting this budget together. Mr. Jackson, you as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to take this opportunity to explain all the services we've added and or maintained this year that we as your elected officials feel you should know about. These services include keeping our neighborhoods safe, increasing our initiative for cleaner streets, adding more recreation programs, and increasing code enforcement. On the beachfront, we continue to maintain pristine beaches. We take great pride in having one of the nicest beaches while also offering one of the lowest seasonal beach badge prices in the state. Recently, we've been recognized in several magazines as a real destination for the Jersey Shore, so we're proud of that. Elsewhere in the city, $1.5 million will be allocated for road improvements. $500,000 will go to fixing some of the draining issues in the city, and another $500,000 to park improvements, as Mr. Martin pointed out. Jackson Woods, which is our largest park, 11 acres park in North Long Branch, received a $200,000 open space grant, which will improve areas within the park, such as walking paths and to remove invasive species. And we've also received a $750,000 grant, which actually, the construction of that is currently beginning, which has been allocated for bulkhead projects. As I said, work starts this week on Branchport Park, where they're going to replace the bulkhead pilings and a new boat ramp. In 2015, we lost our Sustainable New Jersey certification. I'm happy to report that after a lot of volunteer hours, we're on our way to brown status. Mr. Grillo, if you're still here, I want to thank Mr. Grillo because he called me, I think, on July 2nd and said we have to get that going, and there's, you know, through the efforts of the council and everybody we have, and I hope we can get that status. You will. The new brush and bulk schedule has brought noticeably cleaner streets to Long Branch. We created new committees and commissions this year, including HERES, which I have to thank Councilwoman Vogt for spearheading that, and that stands for Health, Education, Addiction, and Recovery Support. We had a large meeting, and there were several people from Asbury Park there, so thank you for that. We also began, as Anita pointed out, a Disability Caucus, Diversity Committee, and Volunteer Network. New events have been added to our calendar during the Martin Luther King Week in January, Portuguese Day in June, Neighborhood Fun Days, as I talked about, and Pride events are being publicized right now. Wow, I'm sorry, I just have a page and a half to go. The major renovations to our public library this past year were all done in-house with our Public Works Department, saving taxpayers thousands of dollars. This includes a state-of-the-art movie theater and several high-tech meeting rooms. That grand opening is on June 3rd. On June 4th, the public is welcome to take tours of that, and I think as Councilwoman Wittes pointed out, a lot of the Pride events in June are taking place at the library. Also, for the first time this summer, residents will have free parking at the municipal lots on Ocean Boulevard across from Ocean Plate Resort. Our Shop Long Branch initiative will be starting shortly. Thank you. Which will directly save taxpayers money off their tax bills. While shopping at participating stores, residents will be saving money while also benefiting local businesses. Our police have increased foot patrols, which we started back in the fall, and utilized the 2 substations around the city. So it's always been our goal from the beginning to increase our communication and transparency to our residents. We live stream all council meetings now, including this one, added suggestion boxes, are launching a new website, and have expanded our social media. We've worked together with the Board of Ed, and we've had a reduction from last year from both the Board of Ed and the municipal government due to a great relationship and communication we have with them. I'd like to finish by saying I'd like to thank all the department heads again for their hard work and support during the budget process. Thank you to the council for all your input and the joint effort you put into the work on this budget. And again, thank you to all of you for being here tonight. This was a special evening. Thanks.
And last but not least, and I won't be long, I think it's appropriate that I read to you what we have discussed this evening as our mission statement, because it all just fits in with everything that we've talked about. But I really want to also thank all of you for coming out this evening, because it's nice to get to know more of your neighbors every day, and I appreciate meeting you here tonight. The Mayor and Council of the City of Long Branch are committed to cultivate an environment of mutual trust, respect, and to value the true diversity which exists in our community. We are dedicated in enhancing a quality of life for all those who live here by making Long Branch a most desirable place in which to live, learn, play, and prosper. And with that, I'd like to say have a great evening, and thank you so much for coming. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.